Hello, Sixes. So at a lesson today, it's a nice time for review since we're at home for a little bit. So I'm hoping that this is all review, and if it's not, you should let me know right away. Let's get on Zoom and let's get it solved and get it sorted so you know what's going on and you're able to finish the assignment. A couple quick things I wanted to remind you about with percentages specifically. This review is going to be centered around percentage. So percent is made up of two words. They are per and cent. So as quick definitions, per means divide, just the definition of it. So when we say things like kilometers per hour, we mean kilometers divided by hours. That's how it works, which is why, if you go 120 kilometers in 2 hours, you do 120 kilometers divided by 2 hours and find you're going 60 kilometers per hour. But kilometers per hour means divide, is what all that is saying. So per is divide, cent is 100. And this is a common word that we use, like 100 cents equals 1 euro. So cent is 1/100th, or it's 100. Therefore, percent, meaning per cent, means divide by 100. So all this is to say, if you have 50%, that percent right there is the same as 50 divided by 100. Those mean the same thing. And when I do 50 divided by 100, I can divide and reduce that and make 0.5. So all of these things are equal. And that's going to be the thing we're centered around is, what does percent mean? Well, percent is divide by 100, literally what it means. Let's look at some of the problems in your assignment then. So here are some of the first problems in your assignment. Actually, here are the first problems in your assignment. So if we have in this first one, we have this grid. Some of these are filled in and some of them are blank. We want to write down the percentage represented by the shaded region. So in this case, the shaded piece here is 5 by 5. 5 times 5 is 25 boxes. And the total piece, including everything, is 10 by 10, which is 100 boxes. So I could write that ratio for what that is. That ratio, and sorry, my handwriting is terrible on computers. It's even worse than in person. We get as a ratio that is 25/100ths. So in this case, that's easy because percentages are divisions by 100, like divide by 100 is percent, meaning that this thing I can just immediately make into, this is 25, wow, my handwriting sucks, 25%. So percent. Great, that's part A, done, that's 25%. You can see in some of these others, this is not going to be a divide by 100 to start, so you might have to scale it up. Let's say in one of these problems, and don't trust me, you won't get this for any of them, but let's say one of these problems, you got 5 out of 20. If you got that, percentages are about dividing by 100. So all we need to do is scale this thing up to be divided by 100. Okay, well that's easy, because I know I can make that 20 into a 100 by multiplying by 5. So 20 times 5 makes 100, which means 5 times 5 makes 25. So overall, that one would also be 25%. If you got 5 out of 20, that would be 25%. So that would be your final answer. I guess final answer, I should change this to 25%. So that's part one. You're just making these representations into percentages, like what percent of the grid is shaded. Well, you have to count those up, count up the total, make it into a ratio, make it into a percent, done. That's all of practice one. So if you have questions, let me know. Let's get on Zoom and figure it out. But if you know what you're doing, good, go for it. Just show me you know what's up. When you get to the next ones, just to give a little more definition to how this works, for each percentage below, draw 2 grids of different sizes. So we're gonna have to draw 2 grids for each one, and they'll have to have different sizes for each one and shade the percentage. So 60%, great, because I know what percentage means. I know that that means, oh, I didn't mean to cover that up. 60% then is the same as, because percent means divide by 100, 60% is 60 divided by 100, because it's literally the meaning of percent. So I could draw 100 boxes and shade in 60 of them. That would be totally fine. but we know how to reduce fractions. So the easy way to reduce that one is divide them both by 10, and I would get that's the same as 6 out of 10 boxes. So that's another way you could draw it. I could reduce that again and get 3 out of 5 boxes. I personally think that's the easiest one. So I would draw, for example, 3 out of 5. Well, here we'd have 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes, and I want to shade 3 of them. Let's go 1, 2, 3. It doesn't have to be pretty or perfect, but you should clearly have a certain number of boxes and a certain number of shading, and what's shaded should be equal to the percentage you started with, which is 60%. 3 out of 5 is equal to 60%, so that's fine. For my other one, I could use this 6 out of 10. If I use that 6 out of 10, I might do something like this and go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And I know we want to shade 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be one possible response. I gave 2 different grids. They have different sizes, and they're all equal to 60%. So this would be my solution for part A. If that makes sense, awesome, go for it. If not, hit me up and let's get into Zoom and figure out what your issues are. That said, let's look at the other problems you'll have to do. Okay, if 10% of a certain quantity is 12, so we know 10% is 12, find the following percentages. Well, how much would 20% be? Well, 10% scales up to 20 and just multiply by 2. So 12, I'd want to multiply by 2 also. That's all that would do. If I want to find 5%, that's half of 10, so I want half of 12. I think you won't have troubles with this, but if you do, again, let me know. So this is making it more abstract. So now we know 4, 5, and 6%. How can we make 12%? Well, lots of different ways. You could do 6% times 2, or 4% times 3, or maybe in this case, that's all of them. For 9%, then I could add together the 5 and 4% quantities, and they would give me 9%. So then this is applying that idea in number 5. Number 5, it says 6% of the people who are forced to flee their homes were hosted by countries in Europe. This represented approximately 4 million people. So 4 million people is 6%. So what if we wanted to find what 12% was? Well, if 6% is 4 million people, 12% is double, should be 8 million people. What about 30%? What about 15%? I bet you'll be able to get through these. And again, if you can't, let me know. And let's get on to Zoom and figure out what your issues are. And then we have one last question that's applied. I just want to see how well you know and understand percentages. That's the whole assignment for today. Those 6 problems. Well, it's more than 6 because part 1 has 4 parts, part 2 has 5 parts, but problems 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, or exercises 1 through 6. That's your assignment for today. Best of luck. If you have troubles, let me know. We'll immediately get on to Zoom, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.